It is 13 hours 9 in Guyana and right across the Eastern Caribbean. It is time for us to enter Wake Up Guyana right here in Kaieteur with you for today, Thursday, September 3rd, 2020. And joining us to Wake Up Guyana this afternoon is senior journalist Leonard Gildarie. Leonard, a pleasant good afternoon to you and over to you. We hope all is well.
Thank you very much, dear Joshua Van Slykeman, and of course we had Raj. We have Raj in the studio as well. I want to say good day to you, gentlemen, and I want to say good day to all Guyana. I want you to wake up Guyana today because we are coming to you live from Kaieteur Radio 99.1, 99.5. There's some major news today that we must share with you with regards to the developments, and we're going to tell you a little more about the national assessments for grade 2, 4, and 9 students in Guyana. The Ministry of Education says there's no national assessment this year. That's because of the COVID-19 scenario, the situation is playing out there, that pandemic, which has been hitting us all over the place in this beautiful day. And so it is September the 3rd, 2020. And I want to say good day to all who have joined us. It has been a good day yesterday. We would have had many people engaging us, and today they're back again, and we want to say welcome to that. So let's get right down into the hang of things. The Guyana Oil Company, state-owned Guyana Oil Company, has a new chairman, and he's no other than Paul Chung. Paul Chung is the same businessman or official executive that came from the Bihari group of company, and he would have been part of the elections campaign for the People's Progressive Party. He would have been placed also as a chair for the National NISIL, which is the body that is charged with looking after investments for government on behalf of the many agencies and companies that they would have. And so Paul Chung has been named the Guyana chair there. He's also the chair for NISIL. And so that's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Mani Ramprasad, a former minister within the government, the former minister of tourism, former minister of trade, is back in the picture also. He has been named as chairman for the gaming authority, and the gaming authority, is the one that issues license to casinos and so on and so forth. So he is there back. I think that's a position that he held sometime in the past under the previous government of the People's Progressive Party. So we are going to be bringing you those stories. But let's get right down into what our today Kaieteur newspaper is going to say. And before that, we are going to come back, or after that, we are going to come back and tell you a little about Room 592, major developments there. And it's a sad development as well with regards to our flagship show, which has been one of it that we have really made Guyana sit up and take notice because of the groundbreaking interviews, because of our ways of saying things as it is. I want to say good day to Dr. Yog Mahadio. And as always, I know that you have been such a dear friend of mine, always there to lend a willing ear. And I hope that you're doing well with your family today. Yo, last night was interesting. We had a very good discussion there with O.C. Rogers, all the way from the US, and of course, Govind Harbhajan, the PM rep in Berbice. And he had a lot to say, a mouthful to say with regards to the Alliance for Change and his resignation recently. We're going to come back and we're going to have some discussions with regards to that. But let's get right down into what the Kaieteur newspaper would be saying today. It's interesting. I enjoy reading the newspaper. It's thought-provoking. It is bringing you a different, not necessarily the news as everybody's going to bring you, the normal accidents and the murders or everything. There's so much more. This newspaper is taking a very serious turn when it comes to ensuring we get a value for our dollars, making sure that we get a right returns on our investments as we partner with those companies, the extractive industries, especially with the gold, bauxite, manganese, you name them. We want to ensure that you get a good deal. And let's not forget the big one, the oil that we have. We have the possibilities of, really cashing in, and we have to get our act together. So there's a lot of stories here that I would want to share with you today. that is coming out on Kaieteur News newspaper today. Guyana's biggest or largest selling daily newspaper. It has been that way for years now. And why is it that people love the newspaper? It is because it doesn't hold any punches. It brings the news exactly as you would want it, without any kind of flavoring, without any kind of icing. It's there as it is, raw, in your face. So let's get down right into it. Lagrange man killed in hit and run accident. Car found in body workshop. Suspect arrested. This is such a sad affair. How do we, flee from the scene, um, and escape from that scene there? And we would have the presence of mind that we would want to, hide what we would have done to hide a crime. And so when you have people fleeing from the scene, it's very hard. um, uh, it's very hard for us to really give bail in the courts, or see what is happening there. So let us go into the other headlines that we have here. Lisa One EIA will not have passed TNT regulators, and this is coming from the former director of TNT's National Gas Company, and he would have had a look at the arrangement that we have with Exxon in Guyana here. And he says the first phase, this environmental impact assessment report that would have been submitted so Guyana could issue the necessary permits. He said had that gone to the Trinidad authorities there's no way it would have been allowed, because there's so many loopholes, so many weaknesses in it that would have placed Trinidad as a country, had it accepted it, on the back foot in a very weakened position if anything goes wrong. So they had a look at the least one and it says, wow, how could you accept this? We would never have accepted it. So that's an interesting thing. And here is the story. Here's the kicker that you should know. The kicker is that the Payara situation, and that is the third phase of development for Exxon. When you have a look at that, every time that you do a development, you have to do what you call an environmental impact assessment. See how many people are going to be impacted, how the fish maybe in the ocean is going to be impacted, whatever else is going to be impacted. And when you do that, they're going to say, well, look, you need to fix this or fix that. How do you address this, address that? And so at this point in time, when you look at the third phase of Payara, the same problems that you would have had with the other two assessments, with the other two, Lisa 1 and 2. It's the same problem that you have in third phase. Why are we accepting this? So we accepted the phase 1 proposal from Exxon. This is the environmental impact assessment. And we accepted some serious flaws. And Exxon has the gall. Exxon is so fronted that they should be pushing to us to accept the the third impact assessment, and it has the same problems in it. It is These are the issues we have to pay attention to, because if something happens out there, we have ourselves to blame, because Exxon is protected by giving us this fraud arrangement that it has, and they're asking us to push it through as early as possible so they could carry on their merry way. In the meantime, we're not protected. We have very little to get. So let's continue to pay attention to the oil deal, because it can make you rich, or it could leave us like what those other countries that oil companies go into, and when they would have left, those countries are no better off, and the people have not been able to benefit. So a good day to you guys. It's Wake Up Guyana show right here on Kaieteur Radio, coming to you live right across Guyana. And of course, if you join us from overseas, you can get us on Kaieteur Radio, Facebook, or Kaieteur Radio live stream on YouTube. So there's where we at. And so let's continue with a good all Kaieteur news. A good day to Mr. Glenn Lal. How you doing, sir? 11 more charges for alleged Ponzi schemers. So Mr. Yuri Garcia Dominguez, the former Cuban national who's become Guyanese, virtue of his approval in just June, he and his wife, who are in custody for allegedly taking over 20,000 US dollars, over $4 billion, lots of money there, and they were slapped with 11 more charges. So this is over 50 charges for the two directors of that company, Accelerated Firm. and they would have told persons, come invest with us. We are looking at the foreign exchange trading overseas, and we're making lots of money. A lot of persons, put the money wholeheartedly. Even some pastors and pundits who believe that this thing was real, and they would have been encouraging people to come on board. And a lot of people were left high and dry right now because these people in jail, authorities have no idea where the money is. How did the money leave the country? What kind of protection the people had? And people, there's a lot of money. There's an issue here, and I'm going to come back to it in a very, very short while. I'm going to have a discussion on this issue here. As so, we're going to be smart when it comes to what we hear, when somebody open their mouth and say something to us, whether we should really believe what they're saying or should we check. We should be a little smart in what we do. What Guyana gets from Exxon's oil production, it threatens to take away when it flares environmentalists. And there's an interesting story here. Um, we're getting some money from Norway. I think you do recall that major deal we signed with them in 2009, I think it was. It's a major, major deal. It is 250 million yen, US dollars. And what it says, could you protect your forests? While you protect your forests, bring down, the impact it would have made on the environment. Bring down those levels. Make sure that you reduce the greenhouse gases and your carbon footprint and so on. And we're going to give you $250 million. We lost 20 million because we didn't toe the line. About 20 million there about, but we would have received the majority of those money. Now here the issue is, every time that we save some money through or save our forest there, for us to be able to get those money from Norway or any other places that we have similar arrangements with cash arrangement to protect our forests. When Exxon goes out there and flares, it is taken away from that. How stupid can we get? And why is somebody in authority not paying attention? They have to pay attention that whenever we do things, that it goes hand in hand with our other arrangements that we have. So Norway, on one hand, Norway is giving you some money to protect your forests for you to be able to save your environment there. And on the other side, the other man who cares nothing about Guyana, because obvious right now, they don't care about Guyana, they care about themselves. They're taking it away by flaring, by sending the gas and burn it, sending deadly or very dangerous gases. Every time you burn, you send a lot of stuff into the atmosphere. And it's our atmosphere because in our waters, and it affect the entire world because you're making the atmosphere polluted. And so here it is that Norway is giving us money and Exxon is taken away. On the other hand, that is what the story is saying. Read it. See what the man was saying. These are experts that are warning here not to walk the street. Shop owner misses intended target, shoots friend. Interesting story. So he was trying to shoot at somebody, and then shot his friend by mistake. We have to be very, very careful when we have our weapons, when we have our guns, and so on. That we be very responsible in how we handle it. It is not something that you flaunt. It is something that you use to protect yourself, your family, your friends, your business. So when you use it and you use it in such a way, or if you don't know how to use it in this particular case, he misses, maybe panicked. You should take training in the use of firearm. I think everybody should have a brush. Make it mandatory that you take in should be able to strip down your gun in a very very record time, because if you're familiar with the gun, be familiar with the parts of it, and if you are faced with a situation, what you should and should not do. So these are interesting stories coming out. The vegan stabbed to death over sale of construction net, and so we see the people being killed for stupid reasons or the other, and nobody should be killed for any reason whatsoever unless you're bandit and you commit a crime and you engage in the police, or maybe the homeowner. What are you doing in a man's place? Why are you stealing? And if you engage in police with gunfire, and if you get shot at and you die, it is what it is. $168 million contract to M&B Construction for the emergency DC defense work at Maikoni. We are paying very close attention. It's good that Kaieteur News would be picking up these stories here, because when you spend our money, we want to know what you spend it on. Did we get value for dollars? So this is a good story. We telling the people of Guyana how some of the money being spent. So you could be able to get down to the scene and maybe judge for yourself where did the $168 million go. City youth protest for cleanup of contracts. For cleanup contracts, you would have heard that the Ministry of Public Works would have announced recently that it is sending out a number of contracts in which all Guyana could benefit or all Guyana could bid for. And so I'm not sure if this has to do with that. Exxon's Imperial shut off oil sands mine after pipeline spill. Interesting story. And when you see pipeline spill, we have to be very careful. When something happens here that we protected at Exxon, I think they would have been able, we would have been able to force them to take in, how you say it, the necessary insurance out. So if anything goes wrong in terms of a spill that we protected, that Guyana don't have to pay. Let's say those spill waters and so drift down to another country, Guyana ultimately, if it does not have proper protection, is the one loophole in that bill. So let us continue to pay attention. These are issues that are going to affect us. Let us educate ourselves. At least 50% of the population must mask up to control spread of COVID-19. So we are going to continue to pay attention to that. So it is September the 3rd. I am feeling a little better today. A little dry yesterday. I'm using a lot of water. The mud gets a little dry so very often. A lot of talks. Um, so forgive me. I'll be sipping on the water um, ever so often. And Kaieteur News too on the front page of they're saying um, Guyana made a fundamental error. Over the last 5 years, international experts have advised Guyana to never rely solely on information provided by oil companies. In fact, oil producer nations are encouraged to conduct independent audits and data collection done by reputable experts. Trinidad local content expert and energy strategist Anthony Paul stressed the importance of this in a rapid assessment he did for Guyana. It appears, however, that Guyana did not heed the pieces of advice. In spite of the concern raised by the media, the Energy Department in 2019 hired a UK company called Bayface Consultants to undertake the review of ExxonMobil's field development plan. Kaieteur News subsequently exposed that the firm hired is listed as ExxonMobil's client. Shocking indeed. So we are hiring somebody to look after our interests, and the person that we hired or the company that we hired is working for ExxonMobil. I mean, these are things that we should. Who did this? Who hired these people? And here it is. Instead of retendering this job in pursuit of a client that's not linked to ExxonMobil, this government is now tuned to review the work done by Bayface. To do this, the new government made use of a Canadian grant. That money saw the former Premier of Alberta, Alison Redford, being commissioned uh, by a team of expert with a team of experts to conduct the review. The newspaper later exposed that Redford comes from questionable background. We got to be very very careful when we are dealing with our authorities here, with our oil deals here in Guyana. We should be able to ensure that we are taking the necessary precautions. We have the necessary protection when it comes to our wealth, and we should hire the experts. We have to. There's no doubt about it when it comes to our wealth that we have to get the experts in. So it is September 3rd. I want to welcome you all across Guyana to this Wake Up Guyana show. We are obligated to bring you these headlines and Kaieteur news every single day. It has interesting news. It has news about how you can get money to be able to have a better life. And if it is that you're not getting the money, that our authorities should be the one that is going to ensure that you get the necessary deals, that is going to see the money coming into our pocket. And so let me tell you at this point in time that in a very short while, we are going to open our lines and we're going to say hello to the folks down across the Caribbean. They have been with us day in, day out with the folks down in the US. A lot of people would have been calling. A lot of people would have been telling us how they're doing. A lot of people would have been encouraging us, and they would have been making suggestions how this government could do better. So let us say hello also to the folks down in Canada. How are you guys doing there? And to Europe also. And our neighbors right in Trinidad, right in Venezuela, Brazil, Suriname. A good day to all the folks down in Cayenne there also. So in a very short while, I'm going to tell Raj and of course Joshua, you guys stay safe. Make sure that you mask up. It is 226-7453. I would want to hear from you on those numbers. 226-7453. And of course, you send us a text. WhatsApp 6222222. Send us those texts to that number so we could be able to reach some of your concerns, some of your suggestions, some of the things that you're thinking about what we should do for our country, what our government should be doing, and what they should be paying attention to. What are some of the things that you would want them to see, or the government to look into some of the projects, some roads, whatever it is you want to say to us. It's your voice. It's time to wake up, Guyana. So, Raj, you guys get ready. I would want to hear the calls, and we would want to hear those messages that are coming from our people, so we could be able to read it and share to the people of Guyana some of the concerns that our Guyanese people have, and when it comes to development of Guyana, how we should go forward from here. In the meantime, while our boys are putting through those calls and maybe sending us those messages, let me tell you. Right away that Mr. Paul Chung is now the new chairman of NISIL, has also been named as a chairperson of the Guyana Oil Company, the state-owned Guyana Oil Company. You know that Guyana Oil has several service stations around the country, and we are paying close attention to some of the appointments. Mr. Maniram Prashad, former private sector official who was named the Minister of Trade, the Minister of Tourism under the People's Progressive Party, Civic. He is back now, and he is gone back to a place where he's familiar with the Gaming Authority. And so the Gaming Authority is the chairman there. And so he is also, while we speaking with that, I am going to bring you up to what the Ministry of Education said today. They're saying that the Ministry of Education wishes to formally advise parents, students, teachers, administrators, and the general public that the National Grade 2, 4, and 9 assessments for the academic year 2019 to September 2019 to July 2020 will not be administered in the year 2020 or to any cohort of students who should have taken the assessment. The absence of these assessments will not have a negative impact on the learner's record. This is important. So they're saying that there will be no assessments for the students of the grade 2, 4, and 9. And they're also saying that the absence of these assessments will not have an impact, negative impact on the learner's record. These are the students' records. So this is interesting, and we are going to continue to follow that. Um, just so, in the meantime, let us see. Uh, let us see. Could we could we also at this point in time ask our boys in the studio? Do we have any calls coming through right there right now, folks? Let us see whether we can have it. Yes, good afternoon, caller. You in the air? Well, apparently we don't have any callers there right now, and so we are going to continue to look at what some other. Well, let me stop here. There's the developments that happened last evening in room 592. You would recall just after the March 2nd elections, Dr. Yog Mahadi and myself, we would have decided to come on board, give our time to Kaieteur Radio to be able to update our good folks in Guyana. And guess what happened? A day or two of updating Guyana would have led to about 5 months of morning and evening shows. Even on weekends, we would have been there or two. We developed the elections COVID-19 watch. We developed the even in that very big show, our and there's two shows which were the mainstay of Kaieteur Radio. and room 592 has really gone into the hearts of people right across this land. We would have been able to bring you those groundbreaking interviews. It doesn't matter who it was. We brought them. We invited the now opposition, who was in coalition government at that time. Many of times they did not turn up, but we did try to give them a fair hearing. We did had a few candidates. We did had some very good analysis. Dr. Yog Mahadio bringing in lawyers, politicians, and so on and so forth. We had a former president, now president rather, Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali on the show. We would have had his vice president, by Jagdeo on the show. I want to say good day to our president, his vice president, his cabinet, and of course, definitely the opposition members of parliament. We expect you guys to do your job. The people of Guyana are demanding. They want you to really, to deliver. There's so many things that people are asking you. So last evening, Yog Mahadio would have dropped some kind of a bombshell on the people of Guyana. You would know that when I asked him, I said, Yog, could you be on with me on the afternoon show with this elections watch? And Yog says, right away, yes. And day in, day out, I would bully Yog, and Yog is there with me. To 1:30, 2 o'clock sometimes that we came on. But we did come to you every day, and even on weekends, you would say, "Are we gonna, um, come on board?" And so he and I were good partners, and so he did announce that it's unfortunate that we have to bring the room 592 show to an end, and that's happening tomorrow. We would have received a lot of uh, messages from people who said they're heartbroken with that, who encourage us to continue, not to give it up. But life moves on. We could see another evolving of the room 592 into something else. In the meantime, Yoga is such a busy man. Don't forget that he's dropped everything, his business and everything, to be with us over the last 5 months. For that, I really appreciate. For me, I dropped everything, including my writing. I bullied my boss, and I said I need to be a radio there. We need to continue doing it. And fortunately for us, Salal, he understands the business, and so he did give us this airtime. We didn't even seek some ads. We went straight into it headlong, not knowing where we were headed. But what we knew is that we wanted to bring the news to the people of Guyana, and so we did do that, and I hope that it would have uplifted your lives. I hope that we did a fair job, that we would have been able to bring you the news, the analysis, and everything else that comes along with it, the laughs, the poking of fun. Yoga and I would poke fun at each other sometimes. I'm a little amazed at some of the things that we would say. But when you're in the spirit and when you are in the full flow of things come to your mouth and you can't really control it. But it is what it is. Tomorrow is going to be, as Yog would call it, he called it last evening and making his announcement, the grand finale. And I presume he did this because he has to carry on with his business. People have their jobs and everything else that they would have put on a hold to ensure that we bring this country back on an even keel and on even footing. And so we are going to be examining, we've started examining some other options to the room 592. Maybe it could be said that there's going to be very little replacement to room 592. But there are some options that we're going to bring there. We do intend to not have the run of the mill kind of show, but to ensure that we talk to the people, that we ask the people what is it that they think, and not just force our thoughts down on the people. So we're going to bring the experts. We're going to continue to bring the experts. We're going to bring everybody on board and have them, update us from time to time, give us those provoking thoughts, ideas, commentaries with regards to the development of Guyana. So that's where we are at, room 592. So all over with and done. For me, I'm not sure how I feel. I'm still feeling I've lost something. And I'm sure a lot of people would have been texting also, would have been saying that they have lost something. We've been part, we've been with you. day in, day out with the shows, the afternoon show, as well as Room 592. Room 592 has forced me many days. I would have been there. It's very high language. There's very, how you say it, interesting debates that we would have had, the commentaries and so on. And I was forced to really up my game to learn a lot. And fortunately, having yoga there was something that was would have forced. I think we educated Guyana. I educated myself. Yoga educated himself. We educated Guyana during those times. So you know, um, I wanted to bring that to you. Not that it's the end of the world. We are Yoga is not going anywhere. I'm not going to allow him to go anywhere. He's going to be with us from time to time in whatever position, wherever he goes, whatever he does. And of course, I would want to wish him. He's my buddy. The best on his endeavors going forward. To he and his family, Anita, and his kids and so on. He has always asked me how my family is doing, how my kids are doing, how the wife is doing, and so on, and has always encouraged me in a good way. And so for that, I'm very much grateful. I think for the many, he would have asking people of Guyana to be praying for this good country of ours. He would have raised the bar in so many things. And of course, I learned a lot from it. And for me to be here day in, day out with you guys also, it takes a lot of courage. I'm not a newspaper man. I'm not a radio person. I only went on to do a couple of interviews, and it was a struggle for me. Being here, I gathered some courage, and it became a little more comfortable to me after a little while when I realized I could say things in a responsible way that I believe could uplift people, and I believe people could listen to it, and we could uplift this country. And I saw, I would have been meeting so many wonderful folks over these programs over the last couple of months. It made me start having a different perspective on things, how this country should run, about what our people are really suffering from, what is it that they're thinking. Things like NIS came to the forefront. Things like when you see people talking about pension and what it means to them. I saw a lady yesterday that I did promise that I would get to her, and we did get to her. I don't break promises that easily. And when I see the way that our people live, it makes me more in tune with my stubbornness, if you want to say that, with my senses to ensure that if I have such a good tool or a weapon like Kaieteur use, I won't want to use the word weapon, that slipped out. I would want to say, I would this beautiful platform that we have here with Kaieteur Radio. I want to use it to really uplift the people live in Guyana, to make people aware, to see whether we could force some changes in the way that our authorities think. Maybe let's start looking at our vulnerable a little more, our pensioners, our senior citizens, our our people like our single parents, the people who are really struggling, the police officers, whether we beat up on them every single day. I love you guys very much. I know that there's some decent policemen there, policewomen, and they've been working very hard. They want to do the right thing, but of course they're on the resource. And there's some bad eggs, but we understand what you guys are going through, and we want to see you do better as well. So we have to push. We have to push the oil. We have to push our resources. We have to push so many other things in which we could improve this country. And we cannot sit by and hope that the government alone could do it. They need our help. They need encouragement as well. And sometimes when they're going wrong, instead of us yelling at them, we could say, hey, wait a minute. I think you were badly advised on this. Give them a way out and let us see whether they could correct it. If we see no changes, then we take our ball game to a different level. We have to probably bowl the full toss or maybe the googly or maybe whatever you want to say. We'd have to do some fast bowling there to them to ensure that they understand that we're serious. This is serious business. So let us get the show on the road. We are going to be back with you. We are looking at several options now. I know management of Kaieteur Radio We're looking at several options, and we are going to bring you, keep you updated. We're not going anywhere, and you don't go anywhere. You know where the dial is: 99.1, 99.5, and you could also get us on Kaieteur Radio Facebook or Kaieteur Radio live stream on YouTube. So there's where we at. I think I would have given you a mouthful there. I'm thirsty again. And I want to open the lines. I want to hear from you with those texts. I'm going to ask Joshua to send me the text from 6222222. And of course, 2267453. I want you guys to open those lines, and I want you to send those lines to me. Send those wishes. Whatever it is that you want to say, you should be able to tell Diana. Joshua, Raj, how you guys doing there? Could we have some callers online? I know they're raring to get through to the lines.
There's a call on the line. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, good afternoon, caller.
Yes.
You're here. How you doing, my brother?
My brother,
How you doing?
I would like to appeal to you and let the whole country know. I need to do one thing. Actually, the bandit in Joshua and the people who are thieves, all the businessmen, let the government give all of them gun and put the people in the fields to work to keep up the bandit off the street. I watch the news yesterday at Bartica right now. I watch the news in Joshua when the guy robbed the lady and run and when the police catch him. The law have to change for the bandit. They got to prison them and beat these people. They got to treat them bad because Guyana cannot get out of hand. Secondly, Guyana need the right man, the right place to do the right thing. We have to live as brothers and sisters. That's the main thing. But the bandit, they got to control the crime. The police, they got to put the police under pressure to go out and reach the people. Them. Look everywhere you can find them. Thank you.
I agree. And all the way from Bartica there. Thank you very much for calling, listener, viewer. And so you have a pleasant day. How is Bartica today? How is the weather? What's the weather like? I I think we lost that caller there. Thank you very much, they caller. All the way from Bartica Region 7. If you've never gone there, you should take a visit there. It has a nice, well, I would say boardwalk. It's a nice waterfront area there, in which they have done with beautiful laid bricks, red bricks, kind of. I want to say red is not the clay brick kind of. It's a colored bricks, and so you're seated there, and you could be able to be seated there with a promenade, and there's some vendors huts and things like that, and you're overlooking the Essequibo River. And so when you look there and you see the beauty there when there's regatta and things like that, if you've never been there, when the country is open back, you should take some time off if you can afford it and get down there because there's some beautiful places in there. And it's a good day to the people down in Bartica there. Coming back to what that caller would have said there, let me make it very, very clear. I would say that this Gildarie boy here does not approve, does not endorse extrajudicial activities, meaning we can't just beat people after they would have been captured. If you resist, well, then there's another issue. If you come into my yard and you have a gun in your hand and I have a gun in my hand and you're dead in my yard, well, that explains itself. But for us to be beating them and things like that is not something that we should really do as a developing country, as a country who wants to ensure that the rule of law stands. But I understand the frustration that people have. You know, people see things happening, people come into the yard, people are being held up, people being robbed, and they're not getting the justice. So I understand the anger. I understand that very, very clearly. But what we have to push for is a strengthening, is a very, very clear strengthening of the systems that we have in Guyana, whether it's a police magistracy or something. 3 strikes, you get 10 years. So if you rob somebody, you're in and out of jail, one or whatever, and you get 3 convictions. After that, you get 10, 12 years right away. So let us not beat around the bush. There are many things. I think the US even said 3 strikes, you get so much jail years that you don't want to get 3 strikes. So there's a couple of things that we could do. We try to reduce the prison population right now, but it shouldn't be that people who've done so many horrendous things that they should be walking free on the road and justice is not served. So I hear what you're saying, brother, but let us do it in a little more civilized manner. We civilized people. But I understand, and we got to be paying attention to these things here. Let me see whether I have received any messages from my good folks on there at Kaieteur Radio. And it is, yes, they have sent us a lot of things here today. Hi, good afternoon to you and everyone at Kaieteur Radio. I wish you speedy recovery. Use a lot of hot and spicy food. Whenever you feel hydrated, use lime and lemon water. You get better. Thank you very much for that. I have a suggestion to make if you could recall, we'll be having too much of incidents in some of our schools. We cannot leave everything to our teachers to do. I do not know if my suggestion will make any sense in that way. We will be able to provide more jobs for people in our country if our dear Minister of Education could provide some sort of training program. So we could provide more help for our teachers. And I don't think the age matters. I agree with you. We have to look at all scenarios. When it comes to dealing with this pandemic, we can't definitely have our kids in school. It's going to create too much of how you say it. There's very little way that you could control kids from not interacting with each other. There's a natural tendency. Kids are loving human beings, and when you have them there, or children want to they want to hold hands, they want to hug up, they want to touch, they want to cricket. They don't, those are the kind of things that kids do. And when you put them in school, the teachers are not there 24/7. How are you going to control it? So if we're going to talk about dealing with school education in a pandemic situation, what are some of the options that we have? We'd have to look at some other options. We'd have to look learning by the internet. If you don't have the internet, how do you get a curriculum to you? How does a teacher get in contact with you? How do you get those lessons that you have? Should we do half of the class and have very strict monitoring, that meaning that you can't leave the class if you're going into the washroom sanitized? What kind of situation do we have there? That there's so many things to think about. So it is a good idea that we train everybody, maybe even parents. There's some parents who are home who wants to help also, part of the parent teacher association, that they want to help in some way, maybe some training, maybe some stipend there, that they could be able to take a couple of kids and they have access to the internet. And maybe we could do it in groups. How does one teacher look into all of that? Maybe they could take the lessons that the kids are doing in groups and send it to that teacher. There's so many things that we could talk about at the top of our head. But it is a good suggestion coming from that listener and viewer. I'm from the region 2 Eskimo Coast area. I've been working on the NDC as a laborer with the community infrastructure project. I've been receiving $25,000 per month for the past 10 years. Can somebody look into this if the salary earned by these workers are okay? So we hear that. I think we did raise that issue. I'm going to raise this issue here. If there's the NDC, this is local government. And I'm going to raise this issue back here with our Minister of Local Government, which is Nigel Diamlal, and ask him to look into this matter here. So that is done. Thank you very much for that, caller listener. Good afternoon. I'm a resident of Bush Lot, Region 5. There is a concern about the private hire taxi in the area. We have a police officer in the area today, but he's standing there having a private hire taxi working as normal with this. He's standing there still having the private hire taxi working as normal. Some of them double and triple park. While the strangest thing is that this very police officer charging the hire car operators who stop to collect or drop off passengers. I'm sending a few pictures or whatever transpire in the morning. Thank you for addressing this issue here. So let us get right back into it. You guys just bear with me. I'm getting a little dehydrated here. So Region 5, I want to say good day to the folks down in Region 5 there. Police, command in Region 5, the people complaining, they're saying that there's a private hire taxi in the area, and this is in the Bush Lot area there. And what the private hire taxi is operating right under the eyes of a police officer. And while he's not looking at that private hire taxi, he's looking at other taxi and charging them and doing all kinds of things. If you listen to us, the police, you guys need to take actions on this. Why is the police doing that? Hello, sir, when is the government sharing that $25,000? What about the hamper for the riverine area? The government has announced that it is before the week is out. make some announcement as to how people are going to be receiving this 25,000. The $25,000 is not going to one house; it is going to every household. When I say every household, I presume if every family, three family live in one house. Those are three families. We are waiting some clarification on that. We need the president to visit Fort Island. I hear you with this one. Leonard, good afternoon. Somehow I don't trust the government approach on the ACFI with Mr. Yuri. For years, this operation was going on well. The fact is that the farm is on license. Give the benefit of the doubt to Mr. Yuri so he could reimburse his investors. It's only 17,000 persons or so. The issue is this is something, this matters before the court. I'm not really supposed to talk about this matter here as long before the court. The people has been slapped with, I think, 50 plus charges. Um, the people has been slapped with 50 plus charges. The authorities are saying that they have little or no assets here. If you've been doing such good business, you don't own a property, you don't own anything, you don't have a lot of money in your account. If you release the people on bail, where's the money going to come from? How do you? We don't have these. In America, they would have something that if they put you out on a bail, they could put an ankle bracelet on you, and they'll be able to monitor what you're doing. If you're leaving the house, if you're supposed to stay in the house, the minute that it starts going off in the house, it means that you're somewhere that you're not supposed to be. So it is something like that. They don't have that situation, and you don't want them to come out and be at home or maybe disappear. You know what happens again? You want to disappear? It's very easy. You heard Cubans have been crossing the borders. I think at Barbies, we hear people crossing all over from Brazil, from Venezuela, using our borders that is very open. And it's very easy. You pay some money, you can disappear. I'm not saying that this is what the good gentleman, Mr. Yuri, and his wife are going to do, but I'm just telling you what are some of the thinking of the authorities. I am thinking maybe there's an option. Give Mr. Yuri Garcia Dominguez a laptop, a computer. Maybe you could take him to the bank, you could escort him. There's so many things that you could do, and you could have the banks open those accounts and have the money put into there. He doesn't need to be on bail if he is a flight risk, if you do that. So there's many ways that you could deal with it. If you send him out on bail, it's not bail should not be punitive in its measures, meaning that because this man robbed or alleged to have defrauded 17,000 persons, you could refuse them bail. I think there's several you would have had. I think Mr. Dorja here a couple of nights back, and he's talking with bail that there's several considerations that a judge or a magistrate takes into account when they give a bail. One, are you a flight risk? Two, did you leave enough security that it should be a deterrent for you not to flee? In this particular case, if you're finding no assets of these people, you're not finding the money. Why you send them out on bail to do what? Especially with Guyana borders like that. So that's just me, Gildarie, talking with a case that is pending, still pending before the courts for this gentleman here. He has gone to the court, or he is attempted to go to the court for bail. I'm not sure whether he's going to be granted bail, but the authorities are looking at this case here very, very carefully. A lot of people in Guyana, would have been paying attention with this situation here. So let us see where that goes. Um, with regards to this entire situation, it is very, very clear that the government of Guyana has its hands full. Has its hands full when it comes to dealing with the liquid cash that is out there. There's a lot of cash. There's millions. I would say there's billions of dollars in liquid cash that people actually got that is not in the banking system. Why do I say that? You have $4 billion that may not necessarily have come to the bank that was given to this gentleman here and accelerated that they wanted to invest. So it's very, very clear that people have money to invest. I'm not hitting on accelerator now. I want to make a point here. So listen to me very carefully. Um, the issue of having so much liquid cash there mean that people want to invest and have returns on the money. We have got to find investment ways or the mechanisms in which people could invest their money and get it back. Whether it's an infrastructure that you build, whether it's hydropower, whether it's a radio station, whether it's a television station, whether it's any company, whether it's any company that is dealing with investments. You could advertise and have the people invest in shares. There's so many things. There's a lot of money, millions of dollars, billions of dollars is there. And so there's an opportunity here for the government to be able to tap into these billions. People want to invest. People have money and they want to invest. It's evidence that they would have been able to fund the money or accelerated to being able to put into this operations. And the people are saying that the operations have been running for a couple of years. And so let us, continue to pay attention to that. I'm from, let me see. Uh, Hi, sir. Okay, need the president to visit Fort Highland. Um, I agree with the caller. We cannot shut down for years. The average pandemic lasts for 2 years. We need to make a balance in working and handling the virus. And I agree with this caller. We got to learn to do that. But our people, they got to learn to be responsible. I saw on the road yesterday a pickup filled with people, women and men. I'm not sure where they were coming from or where they were headed. But what I could tell you is that a couple of them were normally wearing masks. And when I yelled at them to put on the mask. You know what the gentleman in the vehicle said? The man says, I have it in my bag, and he was laughing, and the rest of them were laughing because they don't see it as important. And we have many like that. You stand up on the road and you see man talking to woman, the woman wearing no mask, the man has on a mask, and you see three people sitting in a vendor's area, maybe having something that they're eating. All three women have no mask on. If they have the mask, they have it around their neck. That's not where you put it. So you have to put it on your nose or over your mouth, covering your mouth. Um, government should be government should be penalized for price gouging. I'm not sure why the government should be penalized for that. The shopkeepers, the supermarket should be penalized for that. Good afternoon, Leonard. Stay strong, but continue good work. I was made to understand that the NDC is responsible for identifying who should be given the $25,000 COVID relief. I understand there's a big room for corruption. The point is that the council will make sure that friends and family is benefiting from the same. I can't, I already said to you that the government says every household is going to benefit, every household. So it's impossible. Maybe, no. Let me rephrase that one. There is room for corruption with this $25,000 because if you got a mother and a father and couple picnic inside the house, the one person, one of them could very well say, well, I am in my own family and they could be able to benefit. On the flip side of that, you could have an entire family living in a house, cook in different pots, or as they say, born in different pots. And the authorities could come around and say, but it's one house, so we give in one family. So there's some plus side and there's some negative side on this. We'd have to get some more information. Um, Good afternoon, the Kaieteur from Supanam. So Anna Regina is taking $1,400 when the fare is supposed to be $700. Good afternoon to the people down in Supanam, Region 2. How are you guys doing? And if you have taxi driver taking $1,400 when the fare is supposed to be $700, we have some issues there going on. So this is not good enough. Taxi drivers in Region 2, you got to do a little better than this. Shame on you if you're indeed doing this. Shame on you. If you guys know of anybody who is doing this, I don't believe our good lead taxi drivers are doing this. If you're doing this because you're not allowed, I'm not sure. If you're a taxi driver, and they're not talking here about, let me see, these are the hire car. You're just supposed to take one or two persons. I mean, you got to careful how you do it. I mean, you could see halfway through. Definitely, you can't double the fare. So from $700 to $1,400, you're putting hardship on the people out there. So you got to cut it halfway. If you're raising it, did you talk to the authorities? Did you get permission? If not, how you raising it? And then put $1,400. This is double the thing. It's hardship for the people. Not good enough. Good day to you all. I know we have a new government now. I have applied for house out since 2006, did not get any response. I tried to visit the Ministry of Housing several times, only to be told I have to wait. I need my house out. Thanks. And this is coming from Nisha. Nisha, got a message here. As we bring back the Ministry of House, Minister of House, and on the shows and so on, we got to hear from them how they intend to tackle this 68,000. What they've told us very clearly is that they've started a review of the entire application process of the allocations that were made so they could be able to move forward. As of now, nothing is doing in terms of any allocation. So you guys got to bear up a little. You waited since 2006, that's 14 years. We could wait a little more. And so they're saying they're reviewing to ensure that somebody who did not get, who wasn't supposed to get, that they did not receive that. With regards to the private hire cars, not only in Bushland, but the entire West Bobis, Bat, Cotton Tree, Rosenthal, private hire cars, working taxi, full view of the police, nothing being done, clearly breaching their insurance. And very good point here made by the person. If you're in a private hire car, be very careful when you enter in any vehicle. If it is a private hire car and that car crashes, God forbids, you have no insurance to get. You're not going to get anything because that car is breaching the insurance that it has to operate as a private car. It was not that insurance was not made for private hire. So that is a good point raised by that. I think Mr. Yoke should be the manager of GT&T. When he was there, he do plenty things. Cricket was one. He was a good man to run GT&T. I think GT&T is a private company, sir. I'm not sure whether GT&T, we could tell GT&T to hire you. But it's an interesting thing. When he was there, everybody knew Yoke Mahadi. He was a people's person. Um, Leonard, how are you feeling today? God bless you. No gun. Please, in a peaceful way. I'm praying for the COVID virus and soon lots of things to do together with the government and the people of Guyana future. We training we training and school for the parents also. Oh, it's praying, I think they're saying. Good afternoon, Leonard. And I'm from Parfait Harmony. Here we don't have any curfew. Some people live in here who party every night at the Four Corners shop, a stone throw away from the police station. Oh, this is a shame. What's happening down there at the police station there? The whoever's in charge there, the station sergeant, whoever it is. Here is somebody complaining that there's big partying going on at the Four Corners every night. And you standing and you're not seeing it. Shame on you, Parfait Harmony. You need to do a little better than that. Good afternoon, my son. You're sounding so brave and healthy. Thank you for the healing. Thank you for reaching out to our Guyanese brothers and sisters. Keep up the good work. You're a blessing. I'm not sure who this is, but thank you very much. You and York did a good job over the last 5 months. It's sad to know that York will be off on Fridays. Last day for room 592. I learned so much from you and York from March 2nd. So now thanks again to you two gentlemen. Thank you very much for that. We are going to come back in a different format. Of course, we can replace room 592, but we could give you something, to think about, to ponder on. Gildarie, I would like to ask Mr. Ben, if Mr. Ben is still the Commissioner of the Lands and Survey Commission. As far as I know, yes, he has not been fired. What they have done, what the authorities would have done is reduce some of his responsibilities, redirected some of his duties to some other areas. So he doesn't have all that responsibilities when it comes to lands and lands allocations and so on. And that is interesting. So we go back again, go to our boys in the studio there. It is the Wake Up Guyana show, and we want to wake you up again, and we want to bring you all the news. We want to
Yes.
bring you all the comments and the commentaries coming from our people. And this is a show not to wake you up in the morning, but to make sure that you wake up, smell the coffee, and understand that you have a voice, that you could reach across to the people of Guyana, that you could tell
Yes,
the
Mr. Yu,
representatives here,
hello.
you need to
Good
get your act
afternoon.
together. I need to see better service from you. So it is the time to wake up Guyana. Raj, Joshua, who do we have to wake up Guyana today on the telephone line?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you doing?
Not bad, how yourself?
Pretty good, pretty good. Go ahead.
Yes, I have something to say. I want to know these people at the NIS, they are really bad. They are teaching people money a lot.
Explain to me. We mean keeping people money.
Yeah, because when you carry your claim, you don't have your money. They say you never make a claim, you never do this, you never do that, and they are always right.
Yeah, we have received several. I don't think NIS per se wants to steal people money. I think it's a system that is so broken there. But we're hearing some other things, so and I'm gonna have to raise this issue. Somebody was telling me about some other unwholesome things that is happening there. Some illegal things I would want to say too. So I would not want to discount what you're saying there. I rather believe that some things are happening.
Yes, and I want to
So I
know when
think,
really
uh,
school is opening.
yeah, yes, we are looking at it. We continue to raise the awareness when it comes to the operations of the PUC as well as the NIS and these other places. NIS is a big one for the people. It looks as if a lot of things for years went on there and the people had no way of getting the concerns out about complaining. And we are going to continue to talk about it and not allow it to slip away. They need to get their act together there. It has to be
Yes,
fixed.
Mr. Mario. The thing is that what about the people who work in two jobs and some people don't have one job at all?
Yes, and you're right. There's a lot of people who are falling through the cracks. What's your situation? You talk about 2% people who fall through the cracks.
Yeah, people
Um,
working at the school, they are security and they working at the local authority cleaning trench and all of those things. And other people don't have job. Nobody don't have jobs. So plenty people without job right now.
uh, um, well, it is an issue, and let me tell you this: it's not you alone. I've received so many complaints, so many, um,
I know.
so many people who've been reaching across, and I don't know what to say to them. To be honest, I don't know what to say to them because the people are really stressed out. People really want something so
Yeah,
they
some
can be able
people
to put
get
bread
and
on the
some people
table.
don't
It's
have at
hard. It's
all.
very hard. Well, let's see what happened. We got to continue raise these issues
I
here.
have a lot of
As we get it up,
issue,
we have to raise it up.
but I can't talk it
Well,
on
let's
the air.
see. I thank you very much for.
Okay, thank
Well,
you.
one of these days you maybe be able to give me a call and we could probably have some chats on it. Thank you. Where you
Oh,
calling from?
I come from Barbies.
All right, Warbies. Thank you very much, there, ma'am. Thank you very much for tuning in to us and have
Okay,
a pleasant
thank you.
rest
You
of your
have a
day.
nice
We
day.
are going to continue to bring the highlight to this. So I
Okay,
want to say a good day to the good people down in Barbies there. They have been coming through. You guys are wonderful people. If you've never went to Barbies, you should go there. Very warm people. Very how you say it? You go there, they would go to a pot, and some of the best foods are cooked on the fireside. And you taste the fireside food, or you're missing out if you've never tasted one. There's something that comes from the fireside that's cooked with wood and things like that. And if they dab it, and I think there's older folks who know that when you dab the fireside, all that gives you, I think, a different flavor to the food. So um, so the good people in Barbizia, I know you guys are struggling. The sugar industry, farmers, and so the rice farmers did a little better. But there's so many other persons who complaining, loss of jobs, things not happening. This COVID-19 would have really dented some business that people would have been having. So I hear you, sister. So let us see what happened there. So good day to the good people down in Barbies and of course Esquimalt there. We are going to go back to the lines. Yes, Raj, Joshua, could you go back and see whether there's another call online?
Good afternoon, Leonard. How are you?
Good afternoon, sir. How are you doing, my brother?
Not bad, not bad. I ain't get to do the thing as yet, man. As soon as I get a chance, I don't see properly, but I can get somebody to look after the thing for me. Now, with this,
Yeah, sure.
with this thing what government announced, not government, any organization or whichever government in power, you're announcing you're going to give the people them something. I think it's a wrong move actually, because remember this thing is not going to happen for now or another 2 weeks or so. What I think should happen, if you got to give the people them something, and you make the preparation in front like, and then you make an announcement 2 3 days or a couple days in front, because when you start to announce this thing, let me say you announce it in the morning or the night, next day people start to call in frustrated, everybody get frustrated. And you know, Guyanese are ready. As soon as you hear anything, they got to get anything, they start to make movements and things. And I think this is one of the, it's a wrong move actually. You're giving people something here, but you know, Guyanese are ready. They start right away. Whatever you want, they say.
Is a difficult situation because as a government not saying anything to the people, not telling them anything. You know they got an old saying, "You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't." But
Yeah, yeah.
it's not only a situation like that. It's a situation like if you don't say anything and you're the leaders for this country, you don't say anything to them, you are going to be accused, and there are going to be issues. It's a very difficult situation. It's a very
Well,
very
that's what I'm
difficult
saying. When you got something, don't do it
situation.
now.
I
Make
hear what you
preparations
say.
in front. You understand me, Leonard? This is my contribution for
I
today.
missed you there. What did you say?
No, what I'm saying that you're giving out something, make preparations in front, and then you make an announcement actually, because you got a short time. But don't announce something 2, 3 weeks in front. You know, people gonna start to get
Uh-huh.
stressed out and call you and you and I, you might get 1,000 calls when they meet for the same problem. You know what I mean? Thank
No,
you, buddy.
people want to know. So
Yeah,
people
yeah,
really want to know about this thing. People want to know about health. This is bread and butter for a lot of people.
yeah.
Table.
We know that. We
I
know
mean,
that.
a
We
little
know
thing
that.
like a hamper,
Yeah,
a little thing like a hamper goes a little far away for people, my
yeah,
brother.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, we answer everybody punishing in this country, right? Because of the job losses. But you know, guy is styling already. You can't prevent certain things to happen. So this is my contribution.
Uh-huh,
Thank you.
uh-huh. I appreciate it very much, my brother, and thank you very much. It's a good point. But the government, because the people would have been worrying, was it that you have planned for this COVID-19, some of the help, because people want help, and I think the government is really faced with some very tough decisions. What kind of help do you bring for the people? Is it cash? Is it hampers? What about jobs? So I think they've come up with a menu of measures. And let me tell you what are some of those things based on what I've been reading. This week, they are going to make the announcement as to how these things are going to be. But they're talking several things are going to happen. You have small businesses or big businesses. You have persons who would have taken loans from the bank or mortgages from the bank. You have persons who would have lost the jobs because of COVID-19, people being sent home. You have so many other areas that we could talk about that would have been affected because of the lockdown in the country. How do you deal with a situation like this? I rather suspect, based on what we would have been hearing, that some of the measures that they're going to announce, and which they've already announced, that they have already met the authorities. I think even the president would have met with the banking association. He would have met with the financial sector, other representatives like the Bank of Guyana and so on. And they're going to be talking about waiving of interest rates, bringing down interest rates, waiving of payments, maybe for a couple of months, so that these are the mortgages, these are bank payments or so. Because you would have remembered, you would have recalled that a couple of months back that they would have pushed those payments at the bank if you took a mortgage back. I think Scotiabank did it. I think NBS did it, and a couple of the others. They pushed it ahead. So those things have implications on the banking sector, and they are not allowed to have so much those debts that are not being paid. It has implications on their liquidity and so on. So they are going to be announcing some measures with that. They are going to be announcing this $25,000. Let me say it again. The information that we have until we get such information, this is what we have. The the president of Guyana, Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, has announced that every home is going to benefit from a $25,000 COVID-19 relief cash, meaning that they probably give you a voucher or something and you're going to cash it, or you're going to go somewhere and cash it. Now, that is supposed to go to every family. Now, what is a family? A family is somebody, a husband and wife, couple kids, or kids. If you have a husband and wife and maybe there's no kids, that's a family. But what about if you have a son or a daughter living in the same house, maybe downstairs or another part of the house? They have their own stove that they cook on. That's maybe another family too. So we are waiting on more, how you say it, more details as to this $25,000, because obviously people are going to want to know also. How long is it? This is a one-time off, and we're not going to get anything else during this entire period, or you're going to come back at a later date and say, look, for the senior citizens, for the persons who have who are suffering from disabilities and so on, physical and otherwise, that you could be able to benefit at a later date, maybe also from hampers and so on, other assistance, public assistance. So that is what the government has to come out and tell us. And I think the problem that they're getting, that they're asking, is where is the money going to come from? Where they're going to take the money? They've been talking to a couple of people. They've been looking at what the ministries have in their kitty jar, and they are looking at that to be able to. Don't forget, they also pass some money for the operations of the various constitutional bodies, and they are headed to Parliament in a very short while to pass a budget that's going to take us to the end of the year. So you have all of that, and so the people need that those help right now. Let us see how that happens. I did promise to come back to you within a matter of days before the end of the week and make those announcements with regards to how the $25,000 cash grant is going to go, and maybe look into the future what else is going to come. And so we are going to be paying attention to those things here. That is with regards to what we be hearing here. So we are, let me see if there's some other messages that we have here. I heard there were songs singing during the campaign period that several ministers of the APNO FC government have millions of dollars in foreign account. Until now, I haven't heard this government setting up experts to track and question these individuals, how they earned so much money in 5 years. They should make the account on how they earned this money. If they can, they should seize it. Well, these are all allegations. We would have been seeing here a lot of rumors. And of course, I'm thinking that this the government, the authorities overseas, maybe governments overseas, they would have an idea because they have strict banking laws. So when you put money into an account, it's right away raises a red flag, and they would have been telling the people of Guyana about it. Um, and so let's see where that goes. Good afternoon, sir. Wishing you a speedy recovery, some as healthy as any other person. Concerning the banditry, I don't think people should beat these guys. There should be stricter measures for these bandits. So let them face the court maximum penalties with hard labor. Back in the days, prisoners used to be self-sufficient. Let them work for their food. I agree that we have to come up with different measures. Good afternoon, and from Prospect, a new scheme, East Bank. This is where the last housing expo was kept. It's been over a year since I moved into the scheme, and they have no connection of water by GWI, and the road are in a very deplorable condition. I'm begging for somebody from the CHPA to come and visit. Let me make a note right away there. That is $25,000. I got to talk what these people are getting at the community, and of course, where is this? This said again, prospect new scheme. Prospect new scheme. I'm going to pass this on to the minister as well. As we get them, I send them some text and let's see where they're going. Hi dear sir, I've been looking for a job for a very long time. I have experience as sales representative over the years. If I could be of any help, I'd be very thankful. Send you pictures of my papers since already. I'm sending it to you again. Thank you very much. So somebody has sent me for a job here. I'm going to pass this through. Um, uh, Let us see what happens here. In the meantime, Raj, Josh, you guys, do we have another call online? We want to hear from our folks here. Yes, good afternoon, caller, you on the air?
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon, caller, you on the air?
Yeah,
Could you lower your volume on your radio, please?
yeah, that's
Yes,
Larry.
yes, go ahead.
Aside what you sickness someone. Um, by you get tested, right? And you get positive. Did you test?
Your who?
Did you get yourself tested and get positive, right? Did you get your
Yes,
family
sir.
tested too?
Did I get what?
Your family tested too? Seems that
Yeah,
you get.
they've been tested, and so far, yeah, they've been tested as well. We're waiting those results of that.
Okay.
Um, so it is
Um,
important that you do that also. But we've been self-isolating.
okay. I'll be really glad for the NIS lady come on yesterday, but I hear a lady talk about this from Gildarie yesterday.
if you could remember.
Mhm.
Remember the lady said, you know, she's
Mhm.
sickly and your husband sickly, and they might reach 65 for get their money. You can remember that?
I remember it very clearly. She keep calling regularly, and people are worried. People are really worried.
Well,
You see
that's
why they're getting a lot of people benefiting, and you see that they
I remember they raised the issue
go
with the
ahead.
NIS officer that the old age should come to 60 and the NIS should go to 55. But I ain't get no feedback for that.
Yes, you did raise that issue.
I know well,
Well, these are all proposals. I would have when these things come up. What I would do is text the ministers them and so on. And whenever we get them, because we're going to get them eventually, these are all policy decisions that they would have to take within the ministries of themselves. They have to sit
yeah,
down with all the experts and they would have to look because obviously all these things have an impact on how much money that you have available down there. That's why I'm saying if we get our oil and everything, our natural resources and the revenues that we get for them right, you and I don't have to be quarreling. I could even resign or
okay,
retire at 55,
yeah,
and
yeah,
and I'm going to be assured that I'm going to get something. So we got to get it, but there's a lot of things that has to be done before they could actually pull back those age. But let me tell you this: I fully agree that they should bring it back a little, bring
yeah.
back those aids a little.
I
Let
know, I
people
know,
start benefiting from some of the
I
things in
know
this
other lady
country.
has something reach 65. I watch she has next thing,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
this this vouchers they sharing. Now suppose somebody's just sharing, somebody is not home, you know, and then come back to the area. How would the person get
With voucher, the $25,000
yeah,
voucher,
yeah, yeah. Suppose they ain't home then. Let
I
me
don't
see.
think they're going. Yeah, I don't think they'll be sharing those vouchers. They are going to make some announcement because I think they would have gone through all of that. Nobody would want to know that the Postal is bringing a voucher down to your home and then sticking it in the gate.
No, not
So
post,
I
you
think
know.
they have to.
I don't think they'll give post you over here. They will have
Yeah,
somebody
yeah,
else.
but I'm not sure how they're going to do it. So
Well, I just
I
suggest like if somebody is
But I hear you what you're saying there. Let us see what they're saying because I have several objections to what you're saying. We'll
okay.
continue to raise these things. Let us see maybe we can when Friday or whenever they make the announcement, let us see where we can ask some questions as to how exactly they are gonna how they intend to deliver this $25,000 payment to the people. So we do that, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Everything else good? Where you calling from? I think we would have lost that caller there, but thank you very much for coming in there. And I want to say good day to the folks down in Linden, Kwakwani, Aichuni. How you guys doing in Upper Berbice Region 10 area there? I want to say good day to the folks down at Mabura in Bartica. I want to say good day to you. Grove Diamond, how is it that is going there? And of course, Caneville. A good day to the good people down in Caneville there. To Janet down in Caneville. We have a very good listener, and some good stories there. I want to say good day to the good lady down in Kinville there, and of course across the river west side to the taxi driver, to the minibus driver. I want to say good day to you guys and all taxi drivers and minibus drivers again. You guys take care on the road. To the hire car drivers, to Mr. Waja, who's been working the airport run there with the taxis for the years and years now, has become an ambassador almost. Uh, for tourism in Guyana. And so, good day to Mr. Wajo. Very good gentleman. We have some good, decent people in Guyana here. To the people overseas who've been tuning in, I want to say good day to you. I want to say good day to Bibi Shabira Hussein. I want to say a good day to Fazia Jaikaran and Alan Feetcow. How you guys doing? Nanda Prasad, Reggie Reginald, Marine Ragabir, Lachman Samlal, Mahadio Prasad, Richard, Richard Beck. How you doing, sir? Suren Corin Prasad. A good day to you. Tara Jagdio, Lima Hanif, RM Singh, Nanda Prasad. We get Anita Hardial. She's never been leaving us, and she's not leaving us. So good day to you, dear Anita. Ramesh Tiwari, Mr. Derek Hawker has been with us, day in, day out, and he's been on till in the Middle East, coming back, I think, over to the US again. I hope I'm getting you right. Sheikh Abraham and Carmen Khan, and we have Neetu Singh been with us for a very long time as well. Gladys Ramatar, we have Ramesh Sukha, let's see who else named that. Sarojit, Mohammed Hashim. Thank you guys for joining us today. It's always a pleasure. Mark Balgome and Pinky Sugrim. And so a good day to you guys. And it's always such a pleasure to have you in the house of Kaieteur Radio. So you can get us right now on 99.1, 99.5 FM. The 99.5 FM is in Berbice, 99.1 in Demerara and Esquibo. So good day to the folks down in Esquibo there also. Um, we want to say also to the regional authorities, to the mayors and town councils, to our city mayor as well, to the various NDC chairmen and chairwomen. How you guys doing? You have a lot on your plate. You have a lot to deliver, and you have a big task ahead of you. You guys got to do it. To the regional executive officers, to the chairmen, chairwomen, I hope that you guys know that you have a big task and a big responsibility, huge responsibility. It should not be job for the boys. We should not be seeing contracts being given out to one set of people. Spread it across the place to make sure that there's no corruption. This is a beautiful country. We don't want to see the same old things. We're gonna be calling you out. I don't want to be calling you out. As of now, I do believe that you guys are doing a wonderful job. There's a good start. It's a brand new day. It's a brand new government, and so let us get the things right. You don't want to be seeing people being given contract splitting. We don't want to see things like that. We don't want to be hearing. I don't want to be hearing things like that. I'd have to call you out. I'll be calling out the REOs, because the REOs are the ones who are supposed to be paying attention to these things here. So pay attention, gentlemen and ladies. We have a country to run here, and we want to see good things being done. We want to see our procurement practices above board. We don't want to be investigating you guys, and we don't want to be talking about it in the newspaper. We want to believe that we have good, decent people here who are scared of the laws, and they're scared of being named and shamed. So good day to Mr. Ken Kendrick, also all the way from the Netherlands, and he has been with us also every single day, wishing us well, making suggestions. So good day to you guys. And back to our studio again there. So could you guys hook us up with another good caller here? We have somebody who want to wake us up, and they're prodding us with a stick. Let us see what this voice is going to wake us up with. Good day to you, caller. You're on the air. Good day, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, good day. I
How you
am
doing, man?
calling tell y'all doing a very good job. But man the Maikoni hospital, right? I went
Uh-huh.
there over 3 weeks, and many people extract teeth, and they was not doing a job. As soon as you go there, you say the mouth infection, which is lie, and give you antibiotics, send you home. Last week is 20 body when when they only one tooth pull out. They not do their job, and everybody got to pay their passage, go there and wait. Everybody walk out the place because as soon as they go and go see the doctor, she man looking at you. Just prescribe the antibiotic and Panadol.
How much doctors I have there?
They have
How much
uh,
doctors I have there? There's a Myconi
one,
Cottage
yes.
Hospital. There's
Yeah,
a Myconi
yeah,
Cottage Hospital, they
one,
call it.
one was two, but like one on leave. But this one, the other one was very, very good because she pulled a tooth for me. But this one, pull,
Oh,
everybody go in and complain. And just one by she pull and he go by, she pull he one alone, and 20 body sitting there waiting and nothing. And then again, they got everybody sit touching each other. They don't have no separation like between, right? When you go in,
in
just wash your
in a
hand.
hospital, in a hospital,
Yes, in the
in
waiting
the
area.
hospital, they're doing that.
Yeah, in the waiting place there. Everybody sit, you got to touch each other, you sit down there. I had to get up and go to stand up because I don't want to sit between. Couple body get up and stand up. So I don't know how they're really doing this job here. I think the doctor should take more interest, and help people with it too. They're going, some go with bad toothpick. Oh man, you can't check the teeth and let them pull it out. Come out just only antibiotic Panadol.
Oh,
And I said
uh,
the mouth
I'm gonna send this.
infect. Yes.
I'm gonna send this to our Minister of Health.
Yes.
I'm gonna send the complaint to the Minister
Yeah,
of
no
Health. I'm
body
writing
can
it
even
here. You
call in
see,
and
I'm gonna
report
send it
it,
to our
but
officers. I'm gonna share
yeah.
it to the Minister of Health so they can
Yeah,
look
then I
into it.
pull it.
All
I don't
right.
know why. Okay. I didn't help their own people. That I got to say. But we
I
in
think
here
that's so
trying
bad.
getting
I'm
help.
not sure. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. So
All
what
right.
y'all
Take care
do
for
it,
coming.
man. Check
Huh?
them and how they got the people them sit together and touching other. Then I got space in between for people
No, no,
sitting.
no, and that's unacceptable for a hospital too. I
Yeah.
thought that all hospitals were given the strict guidelines how they got to treat with people.
Yeah. Some people going without their masks on their mouth, man, their face, and them allow
And the
them to
guard is
go.
allowing them to come into the place. There's
Yeah,
a
them
guard here.
sitting there, the guy, they so huggish, some of them, I tell you. If you
Yeah, I did
provide,
see that the guards at the schools and at the
yeah,
hospital. You want to believe like they're the boss.
yeah.
You gotta hear how the you call some places
I
you want to know
know.
whether the guards are the boss. So we want and
Yeah,
those are the kind of things and I can't understand. But I
yeah.
hear you what you say.
Yeah, I'm 60 now. I got one for pull. I can't go. They say go back tomorrow. Again, I'm going to waste money and go there, and I can't get it pulled. So they're telling people, when you go in, I get it. Last week I went there. They say go back last week. When I go, they can't pull it. Now again, I'm
Oh
say
my
go back
God.
tomorrow.
And a
Again,
toothache is a very, very
meantime, I'm
bad thing.
widow.
It
I don't
leaves
have
you up at
money.
night.
My
You
husband died
walk wrong in the
2 years
days. I
ago,
understand what you're feeling.
and he was a PPP man. He died 2 years
All right.
ago.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I'll see and get into it. So, and thank you all for the
All
job
right. I'm
you
going to
all
send
do.
this to the minister, right? I'm going to send this to the
Okay.
minister in the PS.
Okay. All right.
Thank you
Thank
very much.
you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much, ma'am. God
Okay.
bless you. Bye bye.
Bye. You too. Bye.
So thank you very much to that lady. They're coming all the way from Maikoni and they're complaining about the state of the Maikoni hospital there. And when it comes to the dentists that are there, and they're saying that the lady is making it very, very clear that the service that they get in there and the adherence to safety measures when it comes to COVID-19 is not being kept. It's not being observed. So I'm going to be sending this to the good Minister of Health as well as the PS, very proactive people about the situation, what people are complaining about. So in the meantime, let me bring you some messages very quickly. Mr. Gildarie, how are you? I listen to your program every day, and I noticed someone called you for the busy bush slot West Coast Movies. Busy bush slot talking about taxi that the only person want to that the person only want to live, that they only want y'all to put out there. I think what this person is saying, you can't take bread out of people's mouth alone. So I think that somebody is saying that allow and allow other people to live here. That's what this person is saying. Um, the good afternoon. There's a lady that need help that's living with her mother at the Hoop Mahike area. She has children and they don't even look out for her. And her mother is a 75-year-old pensioner. Oh man! And you see so many stories like this: mothers being abandoned, or parents, people living with their parents who are elderly, and these people here are also elderly, and they don't get any kind of help. It is a very, very painful thing. I'm gonna maybe pass this over to. They've sent some numbers here. I'm gonna pass this over to maybe the people who could probably give some help over there. Good afternoon, doctor. They call me doctor now. Um, but maybe they mistake me for you. I'm a good listener to this radio program, so especially this program for a long time. Sending my love to you. This is Monica calling from all the way, or listening all the way from Coburn John, East Coast, Demerara. I love Coburn John. Coburn John is where there is, I think there's a burial ground there. If it's in Copenhagen or right next door to that, that's where my parents have been laid to rest. There's some big trees there, big mangoes. I think that there's a special thing about Copenhagen that I like. But a good day to the folks down in Copenhagen. There's a man who sells cane juice in that area. Lovely Korean cane juice. If you're past and more, you're heading up to Barbies. There's some wonderful cane juice there. There's good puri there. There's good egg ball there. You should stop and you should have some good cane juice there. So good day to that gentleman there, doing a wonderful job. And the good people at M&M also, are known for years with the cane juice and the egg ball. How you doing, Joe? And the rest of the brothers, Roy and so on. A good day to you folks here. So let me see if there's some other callers that, before we go to the callers, while we want to hold those in office accountable, and we must as Guyanese also play a part in not perpetuating this culture of corruption. Don't give a bribe. Fully agree with this gentleman or lady that would have sent that here. I want to I I want to say to you that the minute that you start paying bribe, it becomes, it becomes a part of our culture. That they say that you're doing something, you went out with a busted headlight or a tail light, or your something is not working, and you have to pay a bribe. Why do you in the first place have a busted tail light, that the light is not working, when you could pay for something, maybe a bulb, which could be replaced there, maybe $500, and you got to pay $2,000-3,000 to policeman. Why do you do that? So, in addition to that, there are many, this whole culture of corruption. Many engineers who've been accused year after year of taking bribe, of working along with contractors. You guys got to get the act together. It is our money that you're using there. It is our money that you're taking to pay those contractors. And there's some good contractors. Many of them are my dear friends who have been giving back to society and so on. But there's a couple of people who should be looking out for us, including the engineers. And guess what? They're the culprits. They are the people who are taking the bribe. So, let's get our act together. Let's do things a little differently. We are very much aware. We're going to call you out. And if you guys know of any contractor, any engineer that's doing anything bad, let us know. So a good day to you, to our good people who've been joining us. And let's get back to the lines in the office here. Good day to you, Raj and Joshua in the office here. Do we have another caller on the line who could wake us up today and they wake up the show?
Hello, good afternoon. Hello?
Good afternoon. A lot of ladies coming. Yes, good afternoon. A lot of ladies coming through to us today. How are you doing?
Hello, Mr. Glenn. Good afternoon, and how are
No,
you?
this is not Glenn. This is Gildarie. And how are you doing?
I know that. I'm not hearing. Oh, let me put. Yes, I am Janet. Hello?
Yes, you, Janet.
Yes. And,
yes, we hear you. Go right ahead.
I'm
we
glad
hear
to
you.
hear your voice. I just called to say I like how you keep your promises, all the promises. From since March, I want to listening to you, yourself, and Dr. Yo. And I want to say thank you once again for everything you're doing for each and every one that call in, and you promise to go and see them, and you stick to your promise. I want to say God bless you and your family. And this is from
Thank you very much, Janet.
Yes, this is from me to you. You make my night. I slept well last night, and I don't sleep in the night, as I said. Yes. I want to say thank you again.
All right.
I'm listening to every day on this line for on your program every single day. Not every single day. I see y'all have changes now, no? I read in the papers. I think it's 3, sometimes 4 times for the week.
Yes, we are doing some changes. Yeah. We're going to continue to come to you every single day.
I know.
So we are going to try to make sure that the Wake Up Guyana show stays at a particular time, because that is going to be our main. So we want to hear from the people, so we're not going to change that in a little while.
I just want to say something. I read in the papers today about 2 people that have the coronavirus and they went into the parliament. Oh my God, that is so naughty. But I think they should have do some testing before each one of the new people that go in parliament. Do you think so?
Well, the thing is that you're supposed to know that I think they tested them, and you know that you have to take the precautions. But for you to know that you have tested positive and maybe you are warned to stay home, and
Yeah.
you still turn up there. I think that is a shocking thing
Yes.
about it. I mean,
That yeah, that is
parliamentarians
yeah,
are
that is
like our ministers. They're supposed to lead by example.
that is willfully done, and that is willfully done. When people ain't got good, they ain't got good. That is my view, right?
Yes.
Okay then.
Thank you very much, dear.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
very much, Janet.
All
And you
right.
take care, my dear.
Yes.
So all the way from Caneville there, I want to say good day to Janet and the rest of the folks down at Caneville. I know you guys have been battling crime and among other things on there, but there are a lot of decent people there, hardworking people there. And on any given day, you could walk through that area, or if you're driving, and there's bound to be a great game of cricket. Cricket. Remember back in the days, cricket at Maryland Road, and you have every Sunday big gambling in the road and a bushko going on in the corner there. These are the good old days. This is the good old days in Guyana that we talked about. That we could probably hopefully that we could go back to those days. That we could see the innocence of Guyana, but at the same time living it in a way that we are benefiting from our resources. Because however we turn to twist it, everything comes back to the bottom line, which is money. Our resources must bring money to us. And it is not about a couple companies walking in here being given millions of dollars in concessions, and they're delivering what to us, we don't know. So they need to have a good review, making sure that these companies that come into this country here, that they're not given all these billions of dollars that we give up that they should be paying in taxes for vehicles and so on. And what do they give us? Just a couple of dollars, maybe providing a couple of jobs and say, we giving you a lot of jobs. How much is a lot of jobs? And how much billions are you taking away? And how much billions have we benefited from? Those are some of the questions that we have to ask, whether you be in the oil, whether you be in the gold mining, whether you're in the bauxite, wherever you are, we have to benefit the people of Guyana. Everything belongs to you. Whether you have a Guyanese passport, whether you have a Guyanese birth certificate, it is important to you that you get a fair share. And a fair share goes into fix up roads, for our education, for our pension, for assistance if you don't have a pension from NIS, among other things. So we should see better education system, better pay for the teachers, better pay for policemen, and so on and so forth. There's so many things that has to spin up. We should see less corruption. We should be talking about those things. That is what we need to talk about. So a good day to you, wherever you're joining us from. We are going to have like about 10 minutes more to go. We are going to head back to the lines. If we want to hear from our people, we want them to wake us up with some of the things that they're benefiting from or not benefiting from, and some of the things that are irking them, that are getting them angry today. We want you to get us angry because these are the things that is going to wake our politicians up. Let's get back to those lines, boy. Do we have a caller?
Good
Yes, good
afternoon, Mr.
afternoon, caller. You're
Gildarie.
there.
Boy, you lucky. You better than me. You got
What's
people
that?
that crush on you and all that. You're too
I have
old.
what?
You got people getting crushes on you still.
I'm not sure who has crushes on me. I'm not
Oh,
sure with
all right.
that.
I know it's a fine after Friday in Capefield. I know what happened. Listen, so I'm calling on the program that you had last night with Mr. Harbajan,
Uh-huh.
and um, I felt the guy Ozzy was a little too harsh on the situation, and why it was because I identified with Mr. Harbajan's performance on the quarantine with his job. If even it might have started out to be political as a political appointment, I have seen Mr. Harbajan swing from politics to being a community service person, more into looking after the interests and the benefits of the people within this region from the RDC level and his own way in which he would attack villages and have things solved. Animals and all, Mr. Harbajan had issues with the 51 police, I could remember. That's not politics when a horse or a cow was arrested and being
Oh, I
engaged for
remember.
money,
Yeah, I remember that
right?
situation. And there are many more stories,
Yeah,
which
this
I'm
is
not
not
really allowed to
politics.
talk. That he came up against his own people. He come up against the
Yeah,
policeman.
right.
One of the biggest cases in Berbice that had to do with the murder and uh, the bringing back of a man who was later charged with murdering. And one of the most biggest cases,
Yeah.
Mr. Harbhajan was the one who broke that story. So there's a lot of things I could tell you about him. And let me tell you this. I want to fully agree with you. While it might have started off as a political thing, and he did his job and he would have defended his party, but he brought some awareness to his office, and I must say that awareness to his office, and he was a people's person.
Indeed, I identify with him because I'm a counselor at Port Morant, NDC, and we have
Uh-huh.
that work ethic. I don't see no other NDC councillor have. And so I felt offended when he was blasted like that for knowing that some people out here doing such good things for the people. And there's some people who so strict and staunch on criticizing the good work that some people do. I get it. I get it many, many times, right? So I know what it is. But I don't think Mr. Havajan had enough time to explain. You might know because you said that you spoke with him many times before the interview. And so you would have known a lot of things that he did. But for the viewing and the listening public, they might not
Yeah,
know everything, you know. And so I think indeed I agree with you also when you said that the office should remain open. It does not mean that Harbajan should be the selected person. If so be it, so be it, right? But the man in petitioning for him to be
mhm.
the person to take up the position, party could put anybody, but it's a good thing if there's a liaison between the people on the ground here, the residents, and the officials at the ministries. But I'm not sure if they're going to put a person who's going to be able to switch, like Harbajan, from politics to community service to the way he did it.
And you must be able to put the people's side in there, and I fully agree with you. You made some very pertinent points here.
Yeah. Well, Art, Mr. Gildarie. Kudos to Mr. Harbajan. I hope that he has a bright future ahead. Things going to happen for him, whether political or whatever. I know one thing I'm going to tell you, and it comes from me too. It doesn't have to take you being in a political position or a semi-political position or a community service position to do community service. I think he will continue with that. I think it's innate in him, and I am speaking on behalf of like me, how I can identify with him, and he's not going to stop.
Mhm.
Thing is, though, I hope he don't get
I
criticized.
don't think so. I met him, and I don't make statements idly. We did try to bring him on the program a couple of times,
Yeah,
and we were blocking the upper level of the government.
yeah,
When I say blocked, and I couldn't understand it, but then some people explained to me that the guy was seen as a threat to other people. They don't want him to become more popular than them. And the guy was popular. Well, I'm not sure popular, but he was approachable, and a lot of people were going to him with stories, whether it's crime stories and so on, and tell
yeah,
him, look, I'm not getting this story through the normal channels. Could you look into it? The police are not listening to me, and he would do that. And
yep,
so some of these things we would have seen, but I can tell you some of the things that he did. Like they locked up some animals inside the police station, which you did raise about. And if you didn't raise it, I would not have recalled. But
yeah,
he was the one that said, Gildarie, look at this madness that's happening here. One other big issue that Harbajan would have been talking about that have had a lot of people very upset was the
yeah.
parking of vehicles at the corner of the road. And many accidents, deadly accident.
Mhm,
He talked
mhm.
about it this week, and next week, you see, next thing, a car crash, 5 people died. I mean,
Yeah,
some of these things, some of these stories I could tell you about that
yep.
Harbajan would have been raised. And it
Yeah, he
isn't
called
that
me
he
many
and I
times
are
about
any
the
friends or
condition of the
anything.
Port Morant
It is
market,
just what
about
it is.
what's going on in the market, but there's nothing. You see within politics and the party setup, there are protocols, and that's why you could not have gotten him as you had wished, because he has to go through protocols where he was actually muzzled, and there are
Yeah,
things
yeah,
that
I think he was muzzled, and
yeah,
I'm not making any apologies for saying that some of the things that I saw that happened during this last couple of months in the elections, it's
hmm
beyond believable when I look at some of the politicians who would have been involved, and I had
yeah.
to shake my head because you couldn't believe that they would have stooped to such level. You
Well,
couldn't believe it.
you see, that's the beauty of me being independent. It does not have to be any muzzling or no going through no protocols. I see things, I address it. As long as I know I'm right, it's out there. So there's no muzzling, and I hope Mr. Hamajan continues. I'll talk to him again sometime, and Mr. Gildarie. So you enjoy the day, and I think Mr. Ozzy owes him an apology.
Well, Ozzy,
Definitely.
to be honest, and I would say this on behalf of Ozzy, so he didn't talk to me afterward. He did call me, and he asked for Mr. Harbison because he wanted to stress it wasn't Harbison he was going after, it was the whole concept of the office and everything, and the
Mm.
way that it came about. And so I think they would have patched up things, and I think the two gentlemen understand. that they are on the maybe on the different side of the divide, but they understand very carefully, which is
Excellent.
what I liked about that is the maturity that you see with some of our leaders, and this is
Excellent.
good coming from mature individuals, people who talk things to Guyanese people. People sit down and listen to them. I like those attitudes. It's good.
Excellent. Well, good for them, and thanks to you for patching that up, making it right. All right, Mr.
I'm not
Gildarie,
sure I patched it up. They wanted to patch it up,
well,
but
well,
thank you
you
very much, my brother.
facilitated. You
Port Morant, you said,
facilitated.
right?
Huh? I didn't get
Port
that.
Morant, you said, did you call him from?
Yes, I'm
You call
calling
him
from
from Port
Portland.
Morant?
Yes, I'm the NDC independent councillor at the NDC.
Thank you very much, dear, my brother. Do have a pleasant rest of the day.
Okay, you do too, sir. Bye.
Thank you very much. And so, to everybody who's been joining us, I think we're down to program time. In a few more minutes, I have to be saying goodbye for the day. We are going to be back with you tomorrow, and then in the evening tomorrow, we are going to bring you the grand finale of Room 592. As you would recall, if you missed the earlier part of the show, or last evening in Room 592, it was announced that we are bringing this show to an end. Yog has been with us from day one, and he has to move on. And so we're not saying goodbye to the shows of this nature. What we're saying goodbye is to Room 592. It came, it delivered what it was intended to do, was to make sure that we provide coverage to you, make sure that the rule of law stands. There's a government in place now, there's a parliament in place now, the job is finished, according to Dr. Yog Mahathir. So we're going to be chatting with him. I did have a chat with him this morning. Of course, he is a little sad, or he's extremely sad that such a beautiful thing that was created. And thanks not to us, but to the people who would have been with us from day one for making the shows what they were, the elections watch, and then of course, um, Room 592 into a household name that maybe in the years to come, people are going to be talking about the quality of interviews, maybe of the quality of people that we brought on board, the quality of discussion. These are the kind of discussion that we would want to see all Guyana continue to have discourses in, because that's what mature people do. That's what developing countries do. They continue to discuss issues and not personalities. So I want to say thank you very much for joining us here on the Wake Up Guyana show. Time runs out so very quickly when we are on a roll, when we talk in so many things. But it is what it is. We're going to be back with you at 1 o'clock tomorrow. I'm not going to stop. And next week again, and we're going to continue to do it until such time that maybe it comes to an end, or we continue to a different level. So it is the Wake Up Guyana show, and we would have been coming to you on 99.1, 99.5 in Barbies, Demerara, Essequibo. We've been coming to you also on Kaieteur Radio on Facebook, or Kaieteur Radio live stream, also on YouTube. You could get back a look at the Room 592 on our Facebook page or on the YouTube page, Kaieteur Radio live stream, as to that announcement last evening. And there was a lot of feisty fight by Govind with Govind Harbijan. The conversation was very much alive there, and so you want to have a look at it. Go back to Kaieteur Radio on Facebook or on YouTube, Kaieteur Radio live stream. So I want to say thank you very much, whoever you joined us today from on the Wake Up Guyana show with your host, Leonard Gildarie. It has been a pleasure as normal, and just be safe, make sure that you protect yourself, and as Yo would always say, let's continue to pray for our country. Let's continue to look out for our neighbors, our friends, our families, and those in need. Help, lend a helping hand if you can, because we could be reducing crime, we could be saving somebody's life, we could be giving them the strength to live another day. That's what we're supposed to do as human beings, not pull on each other. And we have a brand new government in place. We have an opposition. We pray for both of them. So thank you very much. Have a pleasant rest of the day until tomorrow. And we are going to be having some discussions here too on some other issues. Until.